Hey everyone, this is Justin at Level Up Lunch. Today we're going to talk about transforming objects in Java or converting objects in Java. Specifically today we're going to look at guava functions and the transform on some of the utility methods they have. So let's kind of dive in. Before we get started in looking at some code, let's drive down to the Guava library page. There's lots of information here, but we're going to first go to Guava's Explained and then go over to the functional idioms and we'll talk about using functions. One thing to mention before we even talk about functions is if you scroll up to the top, there's this little caveat that's really important. And the one thing to mention here is excessive use of Guava function idioms can lead to verbose, confusing, and readable inefficient code. They've created predicates and functions, and it really allows you to make use of great programming styles and make it easy to read. But if you use it everywhere, it really gets excessive and very hard to read and use and all that kind of good stuff. So if you're just trying to loop over something and make a loop, create a for loop, and then make it happen that way versus creating a function. So really all a function looks like is if we look at this little snippet of code here on this page is what it's saying is we want to convert from a string to an integer, and it's by length. So we create a new function that passes a string and then looks at it and says passes a string as a parameter to the apply method, and then it says okay, return the length of the string. So it's going to return an integer. And then we can scroll down a little bit farther into the function and predicates, and you can see down, we want to get to the functions here. And then by far the most common use of functions is transforming collections. So let's kind of take a look at a couple different ways we can do that. I've seeded some data so we can get right to the examples and you don't have to sit here and see me type. But the first one I want to do is really transforming a string to an enum. Enums are pretty popular and you might want to transform. It might be stored as a string in a database or might be some value out there. So let's kind of take a look at how we could do that. So first, let me just show you the day enum that we have. Very simple. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if we kind of go back, we might have a list of strings, and then we might say days equals list.new array list. And then we can just add some days in here. So Wednesday, and then we have Sunday, and then we have Monday, and then let's go ahead and add another Wednesday. Okay, so now what we want to do is convert this string list of strings into enums. So let's kind of take a look how we can do that. So there is a function in, or a method in enums, which is a utility method in Guava. So enums dot and value of function, and then we want to pass it in the enum that we want to convert to. So this is day dot class, and so that will be the actual function. I had just upgraded to Guava 16, and they actually deprecated the value of function, and they switched it to string converter. So we actually want to use that now. So we'll actually comment this out, and we'll do enums dot string converter, and we'll do enum, day dot class. Okay, and then this is going to, it's a converter, so it will return a converter that converts between strings and enum values. So this is going to be a function, and we're going to say it's going to be a string and day, and we'll just call it day string to day enum equals converter string to day. So now we have a function that we can pass to some of the other utilities, and we're going to use iterables here. So we want to transform that list, convert it from an enum, convert it from a string to a enum. So we can do iterable, and then we'll do day, and then we'll say days as enum equals iterables dot transform. And the iterable that we want to go over is days, and the function is the string to day enum, and then there you have it. So if you dig down deep into the code, it'll loop through each one of these elements in the list, and it'll convert that string to actual the enum. So let's go ahead and just do a for loop here, day, and then we'll say days is enum, and we'll do just a system.out.println, and we'll do the day. Okay, let's go ahead and run that. Oops. And now there you have it, Wednesday, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday again. And just so you believe me, we will get, you should be able to see that we're looping through a list of enums there, and then we'll do get class, and we'll just print those off, and we'll run those, and there you have it. So next in all of this is we may want to convert objects from one object to another. Quite often we need to go to a legacy system because we have a new set of domain objects on top of all of our new system, and we want to convert it from here to there, or we get it from a web service, or whatever it may be. In this example, if we jump over here, I've created two objects, and we have an E-Trade investment object, and then we have a TD Ameritrade investment object. So we have a few different values. We have key, name, and price. And in the TD Ameritrade, we have an investment key. You can see if it's a different type, an int, an investment name, and then also an investment price is double. So there could be variations between what you're converting over to. You've probably seen beanutils.reflect, copy properties in the Apache suite of things. You've probably written your own if statements around everything and made it work that way. Let's go ahead and look at how a function can help us convert between two kind of domain objects. And then we'll see also if we don't have a list of objects, how can that help us just convert with the function. So let's go ahead and create the function to convert from TD Ameritrade investment to the E-Trade investment itself. So we're going to create a function, and we want to go from the TD. So what's cool here is if you ever get lost, the function has F and T. So I always think from object to object as you're typing this out. So I want to go from the TD Ameritrade investment to the E-Trade investment. We'll call this TD to E-Trade function. We can call it function or investment equals new function, and everything's kind of in there, and there's a supply. So then we want to say, okay, for every iteration over the list, we want to create a new E-Trade investment. So we'll have E-Trade investment equals new E-Trade investment, and then we want to say investment dot set, and we'll set the key, and then we have the TD investment key. So we'll do input dot get key, and you can see there's the get investment key is actually the wrong type, so we want to go from an int to an int. There's this new inst.string converter also in the release of 16, guava 16. So we'll do inst.string converter dot reverse dot convert, And then we'll just do input.getInvestmentKey. That should be good. Oh, I think we're missing a bracket. And then we want to set investment.set name. And then we'll get input.getInvestment name. So we'll get it from the TD Ameritrade investment dot set price, and that's a big decimal. So we'll do input dot get price, investment price, and that's a double. And we can just do new big decimal input dot price. Okay, and then we want to return that investment. Okay, so that kind of sets up the conversion function that we want to use. So how are we going to use that? So we could extract that outside of this method if we find, we need to get some reusability out of it. Or we can just do create a list of E-Trade investment. And then we'll do E-Trade investments equals list.transform. Up above we use iterables. We're using list now. There's also fluent iterables. There's lots of different ways that Guava provides the ability to use a function. So we'll just plop in this TD Ameritrade, and then from the list is some of our seed data, TD investments. And then now we have E-Trade investments. So let's just output E-Trade investments and then run that real quick. Okay, so there you have it. We have E-Trade investment, we have the key, we have the name, and then we have the price. Just as a disclosure too, these are just investments that I pulled off Google's homepage today that were in the trending session. I don't own any one of these. So that did it. So I converted from the TD Ameritrade investment to the E-Trade investment. So if you just have one single investment that you want to convert, you can just use that function. So you can do TD to E-Trade function dot apply. So let's see what that looks like. So we can say just new, we'll just copy this up above. And then we'll do new, and we'll say E-Trade investment Facebook equals. And that should do the conversion for us. So let's just do system.out.facebook. Yeah, let's name it investment. And that will convert the single object. So let's go ahead and run that. So we should see two lines. One line will be the list above, and then the second line will be the actual single object. So one other really neat way to use functions and do the conversion is between a list and a map. So we may want to have a key, a key in a database or whatever. So we might have some key and then associated object that goes along with it. So we might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we want just a way to convert between each one of those. So let's take this list of objects and create a map out of the key structure. So we'll actually have a map of TD Ameritrade investments based on the investment key. So let's take a look at how we can do that quick. In the utility maps.uniqueindex, so we'll do maps.uniqueindex, and then we'll say we want the values of the TD investments, and we'll do a new function here. New function from, so we want to go from, and the unique index really calls, it's looking for the function to provide the key value. So in this instance, we have a int, or we'll provide it an integer. So we have the object TD Ameritrade investment, so that's from the TD Ameritrade investment, and then we want the key type to be an integer. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do this here. And it's going to complain. We're going to add the unimplemented methods here. So it'll have the apply. And then we will just return new integer, and then do input dot get investment key, and this will return an immutable map. So we will say immutable map integer as the key, and the type will be TD Ameritrade investment. So we'll just say, I don't know, map investment map equals. So it'll loop through each one of these. It'll call the function apply and say, give me the key, and that will be my key in my map. So let's see what it does. So we'll do just a system.out.println of our investment map. And let's run this. And there you have it. So if we just copy this, you can see that it will have we'll just comment it out so view it a little nicer. So now we actually have a map of TD Ameritrade investments. So now you can do lookups and iterate over a map if you need it, however you need to use it there. Thanks for joining in on today's Level Up Lunch. Have a great day.